Hello everyone, Creative Fun here, back again with another video, and this is the third part of my Viggen tutorial landing series. And for this third part we're going to have a look at the short takeoff and landing and using a ground crew to rearm, refuel the aircraft outside of a regular airbase. Around Georgia and northern Russia there are several roads that work very well with this. They're very long stretches of road. However, for this tutorial we're going to use the smallest airstrip I could find in DC or in Georgia in the Caucasus map, and it's this little airstrip here inside the Kutaisi city. And the reason I'm using this airstrip is one, this is a tutorial and I want everyone to be able to copy what I'm doing and be able to try and train for themselves. And I believe this airstrip is far better to use while training for this type of landings rather than start off trying to land on some odd road. It's important to remember that Sweden custom built the roads that the Viggen was supposed to land on. So it wasn't your average regular road, but these roads were custom built by the Swedish Air Force and the Swedish government to accommodate fighter aircrafts. However, if you do want to practice outside of this airstrip, or after you perfected the way of short takeoff and landing, I do recommend trying out a road close to Kashuri. Kashuri is very well placed because it's right in the middle of Georgia. There's no air bases close by, so it's actually quite a long flight just to get there. So it's a perfect place to actually have a road base, and it has this very long and nice stretch of road here that you can take off and land on. And you don't have to worry too much about braking too hard. You can just let the speed glide off. It's a very long, nice road here. It's an airstrip level length of road, so it's very good. One of the reasons this is good to have as well is because I still haven't been able to find any feature in this ground crew or road base feature that allows the ground crew to flip your aircraft. So you kind of have to turn your aircraft around by yourself, and I'm going to show that as we get along with the tutorial. So I'm sure they're going to implement that eventually, and I was looking for the forum threads and I might just have missed the feature that allows for flipping the aircraft, but as far as I know there's no way to turn your aircraft 180 degrees around for takeoff. And that of course means that you need to have enough takeoff space or enough space to move around on a road so you can get on and take off. Before we get on with the tutorial, I do want to talk about how to set this up so you actually can use this and rearm and refuel your aircraft, because this feature is still available, although it's still in a testing stage. As far as I know, it's not completely 100% done. What you need to do is to create a ground vehicle group here. I needed ground crew here as well, ground crew number 1 here, and make sure of course it's the same coalition as you. If you're blue, make it blue. If it's red, make it red. Now it requires 3 types of vehicles. The one is an unarmed lead vehicle. I chose the Humvee. The second one is the tanker M978 HEMTT, and then finally you need a transport M818. So these 3 vehicles you need in your ground crew. And more importantly, the lead vehicle, number 1 in the unit, needs to have the ground crew name. It needs to be written just like this. And if it's difficult to see because of the ultra wide screen and maybe low resolution on YouTube, it's ground crew with a big G and a big C and 1 word, ground crew. And then you can have whatever name afterwards you want. So let's jump into the aircraft and have a go at this. So we are back in Viggen here, and we are going to attempt a landing on the base over there to my right, and we're going to just turn around here and see if we can line up first. I'm using the afterburner to allow me to make a sharp turn. There we go. For practice sake, you see it's much easier to line up with this than it is with a regular road. We're going to throttle back. We're going to activate the automatic speed control, and we're going to flip down this one and put ourselves into a visual landing mode. And then we're going to drop down altitude here and then extend our gears. We're going to see if we cannot land this. We're also of course going to arm our thrust reverser. So in practice, this type of landing is not much more different than a visual approach landing, as you saw in the first tutorial. The bigger issue here is stability, being able to put the aircraft down right in the start of the runway and being able to brake. Now ideally you would land with a 15 angle of attack, 15 degrees of angle of attack. However, I recommend you start practicing with 12 degrees angle of attack first using the automatic speed control. The automatic speed control has a button right here next to the AFK where you can set the aircraft, set speed control to maintain a 15 degree angle of attack. It's a bit trickier to fly with 15 degrees angle of attack, so practice first with a 12 degree angle of attack with automatic speed control and then move on to the 15 degrees once you are good enough with the 12 degree angle. So we're going to push her down here, nose down, throttle up, brake, throttle back. So we're a little bit wobbly, but we are fairly stable and right on the line. So as you can see, now that was, I touched down right at the start of the runway, and I could have pushed the brakes a little bit harder, but it's a bit difficult to keep her straight. But you can see here exactly where we touched down with the wheels. I think this is a pretty telling. Let's see if we can get a close-up of that. You can see exactly there where I touched down. So it was very precision landing, and as you can see we have roughly about 100-200 meters left of runway here, which is well, means we stayed right within the 800 meter margin of what the Viggen is supposed to be able to handle. Now I've done this a couple of times with 15 degrees angle of attack, and it does shorten your landing a little bit. It makes you braking a little bit faster because you obviously lands at a lower speed. But it is trickier to get the aircraft down. Your nose is very high, you cannot see the airstrip as you touch down, so it requires a little bit more practice to get that done. Of course you can do it manually with your own handling your own throttle, but I have found that it is much easier to just trust the automatic speed control. As long as you maneuver within its envelope, it's an extremely nifty feature, and I do understand why they actually designed this into the Viggen, because it would have been very difficult to maintain proper speed, keeping eye off the angle of attack and everything like that, especially when you need this type of precision landing that the road base and the short landing strips require. Now we have landed here, and we are of course going to refuel, and as you can see I have no weapons on my Viggen here. So we absolutely want some weapons, maybe some rockets we can shoot with. Let's call up the ground crew. And when you land at a road base and you set it up as I showed previously, you can see here we have our Humvee, our tanker, and our transport all ready to service us. You go to, I think, the last page. I'm gonna just turn off the track IR. So the last page here, you will have ground crew and mobile ground crew here, and this will give you a little bit of options, and so this is where you basically tell the ground crew what you want to do. If you're not in range of the ground crew, it's going to say here, instead of these options here, it's going to say you're not in range of the ground crew. So you can select the loadout by pressing left alt, left control, and L. If I do that, left control, left alt, and L, you can see here it switches between different weapon systems and different loadouts. Yeah, so let's get the rockets. You can select the fuel quantity here. We want 100% fuel, of course. And relocation, this is not relocating your aircraft, it's relocating the ground crew. There is features for moving around the ground crew or sending them back to another airbase. However, that is not a feature I'm gonna go into depth with here in this tutorial. And of course, when you've done with the selections, you press confirm. You confirm everything with left alt, left control, and enter. And you get a little nice progress. And you can see here it's putting on some weapons on my aircraft. We've got rockets, we've got one Sidewinder. So rearm and refuel is complete. Excellent. For some reason I don't feel like this has been updated with the refueling, but whatever. We have our weapons, so we're going to take off and see if we cannot blow something up. I should have prepared some target, of course, but I haven't. Now, we of course cannot take off in this direction because that would be suicide. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to maneuver the aircraft a little bit so we can turn around. That's a lot easier said than done. We want as much space as possible. So around here we're gonna turn around, we're gonna speed up a little bit. Use the left brake to help facilitate a faster turn. And as you can see, the normal roads we have around here is not wide enough to do a turn like this. So there we go, we're going to try to take off with this. So once you take off from a road base like this, I would recommend refixing navigation system either by low flying over hilly terrain using the Terranav for auto fix, or using a manual fix either with the radar or visually with some sort of landmark that you set up as a waypoint. Where we're going to throttle up to stage 3 afterburner. Let the nose dip down and then release. And then we're just going to go as fast as possibly can. And when we reach around 250 kph, we're going to pull up the nose a bit, like so. And we're up. Before we say goodbye for this final part of the tutorial, let's blow something up. Maybe some civilian buildings. We all hate civilians, right? Always in the way. So let's go for a nice little apartment building here. Let's show them some Swedish firepower. I'm probably gonna miss the apartment building. So let's get in there maybe. Oh, well. Good enough. Oh, I think I actually destroyed it. Oh, and then I hit the, I guess that's karma. I hit the apartment building. Well, great. So I guess that's a nice way to end this video with an explosive finale. So this has been the third part of the landing tutorial series. Hope you guys enjoyed this, hope this was useful and educational for you. If you like this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe, check me out on Twitter and all those funny stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.